Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Interesting development. Mr. Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, speaks with the Russian President, Mr. Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, over the phone. Why? Why now? Why not when they bombarded Iran? Why not when Iran bombarded Israel? Why not when the Americans bombarded Iran? Why not when the Iranians bombarded American assets in Qatar? I have a feeling, and the feeling is because on the 25th of this month, July 2025, Russia said, you know what? I think that we might recognize Palestinian statehood. That is, we'll recognize Palestine as a state. And I suspect from 25, 26, 27, 28 today, Netanyahu felt like he needs to talk to Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin. I have no evidence that that is true, but I have here a witness, and I will show you the witness. Cheers. That's my source. All right, so could that be? Well, let's find out what they spoke about. This is the video I made on the 25th. Israel supports Zelensky. In response, Russia to recognize Palestine as a state. US+Israel warn France. So what happened? France, Macron, I think he was blackmailed with relevance revelation of some information that would be deeming or bad for Mr. Macron and Brigitte Bardot. Therefore, he said, France will recognize maybe Palestine as a state in September. There's a threat. That's a warning shot, I think, Mr. Macron did to Israel. He wouldn't dare. His political career would be over. You can say, well, it's already over. It's not over. Do you think that Macron is going to go fishing after this? Fly fishing? Puss, puck? No. He aims for higher than the president of France. What could that be? No NATO secretary, because you're a secretary and you're at Trump's, you know what I mean. So he can't be that. What can he be? United Nations president has no value. I can only imagine. NATO something? I don't know. We're going to find out. Maybe he's going to be, in charge of the international government. There's no such a thing. Anyway, so what's going on over here? So France said we're going to recognize that. Israel and the United States of America warned and told France, you are imbeciles, we're going to fuck you up, which I knew that's going to happen. Then Russia, after 2 days after Mr. Foreign Minister of Israel visited their buddy, Mr. Zelensky, in Ukraine, said we're going to have some military partnership. So Israel is going to have some military partnership with Zelensky, with Ukraine. Therefore, the Russians after that said, you know what, we might recognize Palestine as a state. How about that one? And after 2 days, Mr. Prime Minister of Israel calls, I'm suspecting, Putin to talk about what exactly? Don't do it, Putin. Well, don't arm Israel, don't arm your buddy Zelensky in Ukraine. How about that? So let's start with this first article. It comes from Sputnik. On today, the 28th of July, Monday, Putin-Netanyahu hold talks on Syria, Iran nuclear program. Whose Iran nuclear program? Not Israel's nuclear program. Why? Well, I don't know. Why do you think? Why do you think nobody asks about nobody except the real people? Ask about why Israel is not checked in its ass. No cavity search about maybe, possibly, some people say they're nuclear weapons. Illegal possession of nuclear weapons. Why not? Why nobody is so uninterested? They're interested with Iran possibly getting in 1,000 years from now, but the other guys who allegedly, reportedly have them, I don't care. Well, I do care, personally. All right. Notably, Vladimir Putin emphasized the importance of supporting the unity, sovereignty, and territorial integrity of the Syrian Arab Republic and reinforcing its internal political stability by respecting the legitimate rights and interests of all the ethnic and confessional communities. Why would he talk to Iran about Syria? Did you ask that? I mean, Syria is supposedly ran by a reformed jihadist, but he's reformed. Shake hands with Trump, all right? And Israel is another state. What's going on here? Well, you know what's going on. You find out who is who and what is what. The Russian side indicated its readiness to help full diplomatic relations regarding the Iranian nuclear program, the Kremlin said. The leaders agreed to continue the dialogue on current issues on the international and bilateral agenda, the statement added. Well, that's not much. This is the one that they say. Kremlin reveals details of Putin-Netanyahu call. Russia Today, 28th of July. The two leaders discussed the situation in Syria and the recent escalation between West Jerusalem and Tehran. You see, all these things have one common denominator. And it's not Syria, there's not West Jerusalem, and it's not Tehran. It's the one common, and it's not Russia. What's going on here? Why do you talk with Israel about Syria? Why don't you talk about Syria about Syria? Why do you talk about why do you talk about Tehran with Israel? Why don't you talk to Tehran about Tehran? Well, you know, you have to stop the bully boy who might have nuclear weapons, but nobody is interested. They're interested in potential acquisition of nuclear weapons by Iran. But the other guys, no man, it's okay. It's kosher. Not this wine. I wouldn't have bought it. I used to drink a sweet wine, red wine. It was until it was called David something. It's a sweet wine, and until I realized that it was kosher. And when I realized they were kosher, I didn't want to pay the rabbi, so fuck off. Basically, I stopped drinking it. It was a very good wine, but it was a little bit too sweet. But nevertheless, when I realized they were kosher, I said, oh, so the rabbi got his money from just saying whatever approved by the rabbi. What do I have in common with them? Anyway, it was a nice Concord wine. Russian President Vladimir Putin spoke with Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday in a phone call focused on developments in the Middle East. According to the Kremlin, the two leaders discussed the situation in Syria and the recent escalation between Israel. It was an aggression, clear and nice violation of the international law by Israel attacking another sovereign country. That's what it was. And he got smacked in the nose, and then the Americans intervene and say, stop. This guy's going to fuck you up. Moscow reaffirmed its commitment to a peaceful resolution. Putin emphasized the importance of preserving Syria's unity. What does Israel have to do with Syria's unity again? Hey, you know, that tells you all you need to know. Sovereignty and territorial integrity. Why did you talk to that? Because these guys want the Israel the great, the big. He also offered Russia's assistance in establishing dialogue between Israel and Iran following the recent conflict. It's not that you're not going to be the middle guy here, because Israel has its Old Testament, and you can't deal with that. That's not illogical. Moscow is ready, and I'm going to contribute in every possible way in finding a negotiated solution. After Bashar al-Assad government fell, no, it didn't fall, it was toppled. Late last year, Israel expanded its presence. No, it illegally entered with troops. That's what it is. What do these guys are euphemisms? Extended its presence. You know what? I extended my presence in your household. And you know what? I extended my presence in your wife's underwear too. Just so you know. No, what did I do? Well, you find the right words for the right actions. Please, my friends, this is Weasel Ship right here. Weasel fucking ship coming from Russia Today. Beyond the Golan Heights, citing the need to prevent hostile actors from gaining a foothold near its borders. That's Israel claiming again self-defense. We are used to that baboon shit. Earlier this month, the Israel Defense Forces launched multiple airstrikes on the Syrian Defense Ministry in Damascus. Syria did not attack Israel. These guys launched attacks, military attacks. So that's international law violation, claiming the strikes were in defense of the Druze minority in southern Syria. So this is like China would attack Israel because of the behavior of these guys in Gaza. Does it make sense? Or in the West Bank? Does it make sense? Why? You see, when you read these kind of things, I mean, every baboon should ask the question, but wait a minute. If we have a rule, if we have a law, shouldn't everyone respect it and obey it? Why some people are allowed to do certain things and some other people are not allowed? Why we should be enraged with these guys but not enraged with the other guys? This should be the basic need to say this something is rigged and those guys are the liars. All right, let's move on. Netanyahu and Syrian interim leader, former jihadist, reformed, my bad. He was cutting throats about 2 months ago or 6 months ago, and now he's former commander of Islamist Hayat Tamim militia. Then agreed, his militia associated with Al-Qaeda. Isn't the US still fighting terrorism? How in the hell they're with this guy? I mean, it makes me vomit. In this case, on Russia Today. For the words they need to do mental gymnastics instead of saying what exactly happened. But hey, that's diplomacy. In June, Israel carried out US-supported airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and military targets, triggering a retaliation from Tehran. The two countries exchanged strikes for 12 days. Russia was among the few nations to contact both Israel and fuck off, man. It's just irritating. The point is this. Why did Netanyahu call Putin right now? You can say just because. Maybe they had it scheduled for, I don't know, 50 years ago. I don't know. But it's, as someone said, I don't believe in coincidences. Well, I actually believe in coincidences because certain things happen that make no sense. No sense. And I don't know. It was a coincidence? Really, couldn't have been planned. It was not planned. But nevertheless. So what do we have here? This guy spoke. I think Netanyahu called, don't recognize Palestine. And by the way, not personally, even if all the countries on this planet except the United States of America and Israel, everybody, let's say they say, we recognize Palestine as a state. If United States of America and Israel do not recognize it, and they veto and whatever they do, I mean, they be the United States of America, there's nothing. It means nothing. As long as the United States of America is still powerful and the imbeciles over there, the zealots, have nuclear weapons. That's it. If they don't have nuclear weapons, we will be fucked up. And if the Americans are not strong, they will be fucked up because these guys cannot protect them. All right? So it's a matter of pride, of religious, don't recognize them. Who gives a fuck if you recognize them? You're not going to do anything anyway. Nobody will do anything anyway. Why? Because I got bigger guns than everybody else and I'm going to threaten everybody else. That's the United States of America. At the orders of whom? Shalom. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.